Hello and welcome back to another episode of T&T with your girl G. If you are new to this podcast, hello. It has been a minute since I recorded. Oh my goodness gracious me. I can't believe I'm actually sitting down and recording again. It feels so good. So good. If you're an OG, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your patience. But we back, baby. We are back and better. Basically, back and better than ever before. I mean, I didn't intend to take 6 weeks off. 6 weeks since I last posted. That's crazy. But life has just been crazy, quite frankly. God has been doing some incredible things in my life, some incredible changes and just exciting things that I will definitely fill you in on. I'm sure I'll film an episode talking all about what has been going on. But we're back. And that's the important thing. And I'm so excited to be recording this episode. Because I just feel like God, he's just crazy. Just thinking about everything he's done in the last 6 months, essentially. Oh yeah, hang on a second. Shout out to T&T, but in May it was 6 months since I kind of started T&T with G 2.0 because we started in November, so it's been 6 months. I mean, I know I obviously haven't posted consistently, we've just had a little blip, but it's just been so amazing to see what God has been doing with this platform, just people that have been just so open on here as well, sharing about what God is doing in their lives to encourage other people. And I'm just so excited to see where this is going to go. I'm so excited to see what God is going to do with this platform, because it's his, it's not mine. I always say, I'm a mere vessel that is just wants to share the goodness of God, because he's incredible. And kind of going on from that, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, and the kind of episode title is, trusting God with everything, and everything in capital letters. I mean, absolutely, everything. And I know I talk about this a lot, but it's only because when you, I've seen what happens when you do. I've seen what happens when you fully give everything to God, and then boom, he just lavishes just his goodness, his mercy. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So let me actually get into today's episode. So what I want to talk about is kind of I want to share the testimony of how I got into the radio workshop that I did in March, which is crazy because that seems so long ago now, but kind of what happened, but also how I got to that point. And so kind of looking back, 2023 was just a real year of refining and surrendering everything to God. And I mean, in 2023 was when I was I need a new job, and I was just had to say goodbye to a few relationships that weren't healthy, and I just needed to basically give God everything. And he was saying this to me. He was G, and I feel I was not drip feeding, but when you give something and then you're okay, I've given that, and then it's no, there's that as well, and there's that, and you're just okay, fine, then get. And it got to the point that was the last thing that I was holding, and that was my job. And I'm someone who like I've said in my job testimony about getting my job, I'm not someone who is a go with the flow type of person. I like planning, I like control, I like all of that. And so that was the last thing I had to do, and I surrendered it, gave it to God, and then he blessed me with the job that I'm currently doing, which again is just such a testimony. And I just, every day I feel so overwhelmed that this is my life. I just, what, God, what? But basically the whole like testimony of the whole radio thing was, it was just a normal day. I was working from home, like just, you know, getting on with stuff, and I got a notification in a group, like a WhatsApp group that I'm in, about this radio workshop. And I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. I don't really know. Like, I don't really know much about radio. And funny thing is, this is the thing. Like, when I tell you, my God knows like when God, he just, okay, side note. What I'm really realizing as well in the last like couple of weeks is that God listens. And I mean listens. So when I have like sometimes those like passing comments, you know, when you like kind of say something and you like don't think anyone's listening, and you don't really think like, you don't really mean anything by it, but really you do because it's coming from your heart. God hears that. God hears that and he sees that. And I'm seeing that so much, like little things that I'd like mentioned, like, oh, that would be nice. Oh, like that would be nice. And God's like, boom, here you go. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even pray that. Like, I literally just said that, and you're here like answering my prayers that I didn't even pray. Like, what? Anyway, side note, sorry. I digress so much. Anyway, yeah, so when I was doing the whole like year of applying to jobs, I'd applied to a few like radio things because I was like, I want to get into presenting. Like, that would be so cool. Like, if I was to work for like Premier Praise, or like, oh, that would be so cool. Like, and anyway, like it wasn't right, and obviously I didn't get it, but it was also like in the back of my mind. So then when this radio workshop thing came, I was like, oh, like that's so funny. Like, I'd not thought about radio like again for a little while. So I was like, okay, like, do you know what? Let me just apply. What harm is there in applying to this? And so, but then when I was reading the questions, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know much about radio. Like, yeah, I love music and I listen, but I don't really know that much. I don't listen to it that much. So I don't really know if I'm the right person. And I started to doubt. And enemy, whispers, yeah, oh, but you can't do that. And I'm like, and then my sister actually was like, Georgia, what harm is there in applying? What have you got to lose in just applying? So it's like, do you know what? Like, that's why you need people in your life. You need people in your life that are gonna encourage you in the right way, that are gonna hold you accountable and be like, do you know what have you got to lose in just applying? So it's like, okay, fine, I'll apply. So anyway, applied, and again, like I say, God is a God of details. Me, I don't like long applications. If I see something and I'm like, oh, this is long, why? Like, why am I seeing 5 pages that I've got to fill in? Like, forget it. This form was so short, like genuinely, like I don't even know if it was a page. So I was like, oh, perfect, yep, fill this in. And I was so honest on my application as well, because I was like, do you know what? Like, there could be so many other people that they could choose. Like, I want to be who I am. I know who I am. I know who Georgia J. Charlton is, and that's who I'm going to be, period. So filled out my application, and then I knew that basically they were finalising. So they had like, I don't know how many applicants they had, like probably over 100. And then they were finalising it to like 50. But again, honestly, God is so good. I applied on the last day that you could like apply to this thing, like the workshop. So I applied on the last possible day, because in the group chat they'd put like, oh, this is the last day to apply. Me, if I'd have applied 3 weeks ago, I would have been stressing, overthinking. But no, I applied on the last day and I was so calm. I was like, yep, cool, whatever. Like, what will be, God. Like, in my mind, I genuinely didn't think like anything would happen. And that's wrong. Like, why I thought that, I don't know. But I just genuinely was like, oh, well, you know, what will come of it. And then 2 days later, I got an email to say, congratulations, you have made it to the final 50. I was shook. I was like, what? God? Like, huh? This is crazy. So yeah, I got into the final 50, and that was an open evening. So we had to basically go to Arsenal Football Stadium. Let me just say, that's the last time you're going to catch me in an Arsenal football stadium. Really? I was like, this is yeah, it was humorous. But anyway, went there and we had an open evening, and basically Jeremiah Asmaya was the one who was like kind of leading this whole workshop, and basically it was called The Journey, and how it was like, if you're interested in radio, presenting, podcasting, like they basically wanted to help you like start your career, or like give you guidance and mentorship in it. So basically right up my street. And then on the open evening, they had like different people within like Radio 1 come and speak to us about, you know, starting, about the process, about, you know, just sharing their experience. And it was so good, and I was just so encouraged by what they were saying. But not only that, it was also the atmosphere that was created. Like, I've been in creative spheres, and, you know, I studied drama and theatre arts, and sometimes like people cannot necessarily be the nicest. They can often be like, oh, it's all about me, like very pretentious, like pick me. And I didn't feel that could not have been more opposite to my experience that I had at The Journey. Everyone was so uplifting, so encouraging, like your biggest hype person, yet they don't even know me. And I was like, God, what is this? Like, this is so nice. I genuinely feel like I've walked away with like 20 best friends. It's just great. And then kind of like what left the open evening, and they were like, we're going to email you to let you know who's made the final 6. So I think it was final 6 at that point. And then there's nothing you have to do. We're just going to pick 6 people. And again, me being me, who I'm working through this, guys. I'm working through this, but I often like doubt my own abilities. I think it's just something that I've struggled with for a long time, since I was young. And we all have like our insecurities. We all have things that we are battling with. But yeah, I really struggle with believing in myself, and it's getting better. It's getting so much better, and just seeing like God working in me. But initially my first thought is to always think like, oh, it won't be me. And it's wrong. I don't know why I think that. It's wrong, you know? Pray for me, guys. But yeah, I just walked away and was like, oh, do you know what? And I think as well, it was more the fact that I was like, do you know, if anything, God, I just thank you so much for this experience, because you have blessed me so much, even just being in that space. Like, that was just, even to get on that alone, like, thank you. Like, it's everything I needed. And so left there. And it was so funny because it was my cousin's hen do that weekend. So they were like, oh, we'll email you Friday. Didn't have an email. And I was like, cool, thank you, God, again for that experience. It was amazing. Went away for the weekend, hen do. And then Sunday, driving back, and stopped off at London to like drop my sister home, and we pulled into Tesco. And I got a DM, right, from Lavon the Don. I got a DM from her saying, girl, we made it to the final 9. And I was like, my response was, huh? Like, genuinely, like, what? And she's like, we made it to the final 9. So I like was so confused, went on the post, saw my name, saw that I was tagged, went on my email, saw like, you've made it to the final 9. And basically they couldn't choose 6 people. They'd chosen like 3 other people as well. And I was just like in utter shock. I was in utter shock and disbelief. But then I was like, no, but that's my God. That's the God I serve, that even the wildest, craziest thing, like, even though I don't believe in myself, my God does. My God believes in me to give me this opportunity. He gives me good gifts. And I was just blown away, like blown away. And it was funny actually, because someone told me about like Esther and like Such a Time as This, and just, it was actually my mum. She was like, Georgia, I just feel like this is just the start, which was so exciting. And that was before I even got on to like this thing. So yeah, it was just amazing. And like the workshop was insane. Like, so many pinch me moments that I was just like, God, like, am I really here? Am I really in this space? Like, we were just exposed to so much knowledge, to so many incredible people, like to so many incredible opportunities. And I'm still like, I'm just in awe that I even did that and I got on that experience, and that God allowed me to do that, to be there. And not only that, like, when I say God's timing is perfect, I mean God's timing is perfect. Because if I'd have got that opportunity, like maybe even 2 years ago, I would have approached it so differently. I may not have been like Georgia. Like, I would probably been like, oh, like, let me not talk about like TNT with G, because I don't know how people are going to react, because, you know, like, obviously it's a Christian like podcast, and, you know, and like, I'm not really sure, like, you know, I can't be like too, you know. And not this time round, but like being where I am now and in the place that I'm in, I'm like, do you know what, like, yeah, this is TNT with G, this is what I'm about. Like, I am Georgia J. Charlton, who was created in the image of God, and I am going to be exactly who God has called me to be. Like, that's the place I'm in now. Like, what you see is what you get. I'm the same everywhere I go. Like, and it's not always been like that. And that's another thing I want to say, like, with like trusting in God with everything, you have to lay down and be like, hey God, I surrender everything to you. And also like myself to you, like, I surrender it to you, because there's been so many times, and I look back over the years of when I've tried to be like two different people, and it's like I'm trying to be like this fun like person with my friends, like my uni friends or at uni, and oh, like, I'm in this relationship, but I can't like tell, like, I don't want to bring that then into my family, because obviously my family, I don't want them to like be disappointed in me, so I've got to be like that. And also then when I'm at church, I can't be the same person that I'm at when I'm at uni, because that just it doesn't work. And it's so exhausting, and it's so damaging, and I don't know, like, I did that for so long. I did it for so long. And I just want to say, like, if you're in that place, if you're in that feeling like you can't be the same person, then like, I just want to pray for you, because it's so damaging to it's almost like you're cutting yourself off, like you're trying to be somebody that you're not. And then when you actually are your true self, when you actually know your identity, when you actually know that you're created in the image of God, and you live out your purpose and what God has it is so freeing. Like, it is so freeing and so exciting. And also people get to know who you really are. Like, and that's the thing, what makes me really sad is I think to myself, like, when I was that person that couldn't be the same here and there, did people really know me? Because I was putting on a front, I was putting on a facade of like, oh, well, I'm going to be this cool girl who like goes out, not even cool girl, I don't know why I'm saying cool girl, but like, I'm going to go drinking and go clubbing and all of this stuff, and like, yeah, it's fine, and like all of this, and then be at church on Sunday and like be worshipping God. It's like, who are you? And like, then those people that get to learn that person, they don't actually know the true me. And that's really sad, because I want my friends to know who I am. And so, yeah, like, it was just really eye-opening that I was like, God, like, your timing is perfect. Like, you knew I needed to be in this place to do this, to have an impact. And yeah, it's just, honestly, it's crazy. And it all came from being like, hey God, I trust you with everything in capital letters. And it's also that thing of like, do you know what, God, like, I trust you even in the things that I don't even know if I have the abilities to do. Like, I went into this radio thing, like, I don't even know if I can do radio. Like, I was just like, do you know what, like, God, I'm going to apply, like, because do you know what, you provide everything that I need and more. You give me the strength that I need. Like, it's not in my ability, it's in yours. And if you want me in that place, best believe you're going to give me what I need to do it. Best believe you're going to give me what I need to do the job to the best of my ability. And that's the thing, like when I was doing it, it was like, oh, like you've got to do your links and you've got to do this and that and that. And I was thinking, I don't even know what that is. Like, but partnered with the Holy Spirit, partnered with God, like he enabled me to go from strength to strength to strength. And I'm just saying this to encourage you. I just want to encourage you that I don't know where you guys are at. I don't know, like whoever's listening to this, I don't know where you're at in life at the minute. But if there is one piece of advice, if there was one thing I could tell you, it is to trust God with everything. And I know I've said it probably about 5 times. Take a sip of your tea every time I say trust God with everything. But like it is the best thing. And I know obviously sometimes it's easier said than done, because like I said before, when it came to actually doing the practical thing of trusting God with everything, actually laying down everything, it took time. I'm not going to sit here and say, do you know what? Yeah, God, I knew I had to trust God with everything and I just did it straight away. No, I'd be lying to you. It wasn't like that. It wasn't to the point that I was like, yeah, do you know what, God, like you've told me to trust you with everything, so I'm just going to do it. No, like, I'm not going to lie. I can be disobedient at times. I have to die to my flesh daily, you know? But actually getting to that place, it's also getting to that place. I think, you know, we can say, oh yeah, trust God with everything, but sometimes it's little by little, and it's having those small wins, and it's being like, do you know what, God, I didn't actually drink when I went clubbing. That's a real win. I didn't drink. And do you know what, actually I didn't swear today. Or do you know what, God, like I read my Bible today. Like, and it's continually doing that and building on that and building on that and building on that, because the more we do that, the more we sow in and plant the seeds and water with the Holy Spirit and with what God is doing, like the more we will be who we're called to be, the more we will be in line with God and his purpose for our life. And it will become easy, because guess what? He gives us the strength. When we are in line with him, he gives us the power. He gives us the self-control. He gives us the patience, because we can't do it on our own. Like I've tried to do it on my own so many times. And every single time I fell. But when I do it with God, best believe, last week I was crying, like totally transparent. Last week I was so upset because I was like, I need to film an episode of TNT. Like I've slid off, like, and not that I'd slid off, but like basically just life has been crazy and I was just overwhelmed with life, but in the best way. Like when I fully tell you, and we'll get into it, like life's been amazing. Like it's just, God has been blessing me so much, but it's also a balance, and it's getting to that balance and actually like just praying and giving it to God. And like even now I'm filming and recording, and this is going to be turned around in literally a day, but with the strength of God, because he gives me that ability. Like he is the master of time. Like anyway, I'm going off tangent now because I clearly love to talk. But yeah, the reason why I'm sharing this testimony and the reason why I wanted to talk about, you know, trusting in God with everything is because it is genuinely the best decision I've ever made. And when you walk in obedience and in line with his will, he will do exceedingly and abundantly more than you can ask or think. Like more exceedingly and abundantly more than you can ask, think and imagine. Like, and our imagination is crazy, you know, like we can think of the wildest things and God goes beyond that. And that's what like froze me. I'm like, huh? Like what? Before 2023, I was always a little bit disheartened because I studied a degree in drama and theatre arts. That's what I trained in at university. And I love being creative. I love being creative and creating content. And I just felt like in 2023, I felt like, and a bit before, like my degree was just like wasted. And yeah, I was just like in like this thing of like, you know, comparison and like I'm not doing what I did, and like I spent all this money on a degree that I'm not even using, blah 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 blah. And the issue was like I was thinking about myself. Like the whole time I was moaning about like, like I've wasted my degree, I haven't done this, blah blah blah. Like it was all about me. Like it was all about me. But then when I fixed my eyes on Jesus and let go of control and trusted him with everything, he said to me, now look what I can do. See the purpose that I've intended for your life. See the purpose that I've intended for your life all along. This was the plan. This was the plan. And like, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that there aren't trials and there's not challenges and that there's not bumps in the road. But again, I just want to echo, it is the best decision that I've ever made. I've never felt so much peace and joy and freedom from the moment that I said, God, I'm all in. All in. And so I just want to encourage you that you can do this. Partner with God and his Holy Spirit and his strength. You can do it. You just need to say, God, I'm all in. God, I'm all in. I trust you with everything I have. But yeah, I'm going to close because I feel like I've been talking for a little minute. But oh my gosh, it's so good to be back. I love it. I've missed you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I hope you have a blessed week. I can't believe it's like June next week. Yeah, June next week. Like we will have done half the year. Where's that gone? Like, is it just me? Anyway, yeah, I'm praying for you guys that you have a blessed week, that God will just minister to you. And I will be back very soon for another episode of TNT with your girl G. Bye.